All right, so you know how sometimes you just crave something different, right? Like something new and exciting.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going deep into Hyderabad's craft beer scene,
Nice.
which is kind of a newer thing there, right? I mean, compared to some other places.
It is, yeah. Hyderabad's craft beer story, it kind of all started around 2015 or so.
Oh, okay, so not that long ago.
No, not really. That's when the BRS government, they decided to let microbreweries actually open up in the city. Before that, it was all, well,
The big guys, huh?
pretty much, yeah. But, other cities like Bengaluru or Mumbai or Pune, even Gurugram, they were all already kind of having this craft beer boom.
They were ahead of the game.
Yeah, and there was definitely this feeling in Hyderabad of like, hey, what about us? We want some of that good stuff too.
Makes sense.
And, when the government made that change, the response was huge. Like almost 60 entrepreneurs applied for licenses.
Wow, so there was definitely a demand for it.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone was super eager to kind of jump into this whole new market.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can only imagine. But I'm guessing it wasn't all smooth sailing, right? I mean, starting any business is tough.
oh yeah, definitely. Wasn't like, everyone just got a license and opened up the next day.
Right, what were some of those hurdles?
Well, first off, only 18 of those applicants actually ended up getting licenses.
Oh, wow. So less than a third?
Yeah, and I
Uh,
mean, the initial investment was nothing to sneeze at. You were looking at around a 2 crore to get started, plus like licensing fees and deposits on top of that.
That's a pretty steep entry point.
For sure. But it wasn't even just the money, there were some pretty strict regulations in place too. Back then, brewers couldn't bottle their beer, they couldn't sell it off-site, and get this, they couldn't even keep it on tap for more than 36 hours.
36 hours, that seems so short.
Hmm.
I mean, why is such a strict limit?
Right. I mean, you think about it, that's like, what, a day and a half?
Yeah, seems like barely enough time for people to even try it all.
I know. It was probably a few things, trying to make sure the quality and freshness was top notch, especially since it was all so new to Hyderabad. They wanted people to have a good experience.
Makes sense starting off on the right foot.
Exactly. And, maybe it was also a way to encourage people to actually go to the breweries, make it more about the atmosphere and the whole experience.
Ah, so like building a community around it.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of thing.
I can see that. But you mentioned other hurdles, right? Wasn't space an issue too?
Oh, huge issue. Like in 2015, if you wanted to open a microbrewery, you needed at least 1,000 square meters.
1,000. That's like, what? A whole football field.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And out of that, 300 square meters had to be just for the brewing plant itself.
So yeah, a huge chunk of that space. I mean, I bet finding a place like that, especially with all the other costs involved, it must have been a real challenge.
Oh, for sure. And, that kind of space requirement on top of everything else, it really made it tough for a lot of people who wanted to get into the game.
So it sounds like it was a pretty exclusive club back then, huh?
Yeah, you could say that. But the cool thing is, things are changing now.
Oh, tell me more.
Yeah. So the government's actually looking at relaxing some of those regulations. They're talking about reducing the space needed for a brewing plant down to 100 square meters.
Wow. That's a big difference.
Oh, huge difference. And you know what that means. It means that it's going to be a lot easier for smaller players to get involved.
I can see that. That's pretty exciting. It could really open things up, right?
Absolutely. And I'm picturing all these unique little brewing spaces popping up, not just in like the fancy areas, but maybe in those older parts of town too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Adding to the charm,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like imagine a microbrewery tucked away in a historic lane in Charminar, or yet nestled right in the middle of Secunderabad. That'd be so cool.
Right. And think about it. All those new breweries would mean more competition.
Oh, yeah. And more competition usually leads to more creativity and innovation right now.
Totally. Who knows what kind of awesome brews we could see? Maybe some revivals of traditional Indian brewing techniques or some fusion stuff with local flavors and more classic styles.
Yeah, the possibilities are really endless.
I know. And for people who love craft beer, like really love it, I mean, this could be a really amazing time to be in Hyderabad.
Oh, for sure. I mean, more choices, more variety, better quality. It's all good news.
Exactly. And, it's not just about the beer itself, right? It's about what it does for the city, too.
Totally. More breweries mean more local businesses, more jobs, more vibrancy in different neighborhoods.
Yeah, it's like a win-win for everyone.
Absolutely.
So here's something to think about, right? If you could open a microbrewery in Hyderabad, what kind of beer would you make? Like, what would be your signature brew? And where would you set up shop? What kind of vibe would you go for?
Oh, that's a great question. I have to think about that one.
Me too. I mean, it's so exciting to think about all the possibilities, right?
Yeah.
And as things change, who knows what will happen to people's tastes? Maybe hyperlocal brews will become the next big
You
thing.
never know. That's the beauty of it all.
Absolutely. So yeah, the future of craft beer in Hyderabad, it's looking pretty bright, bubbly, and full of possibilities. So next time you're enjoying a pint of that locally brewed goodness, take a second to really savor it. Who knows what amazing flavors and experiences are waiting for us just around the corner.
Cheers to that.